All right, and we all good evening, good morning, everybody. It's 3 a.m. for me. My name is Mark. We written path. Uh, just wanted to hop on. Might read a couple things. Maybe talk a little bit about some things that's been happening today. Uh, but I'm gonna start off with something special I wrote for my daughter, Kristen. She's in the bed behind me, trying to go back to sleep because tomorrow morning is her first day of school. Here, the New Year, fourth grade. So I'm gonna start off and read this one that I wrote for her. So to Kristen, I don't say this kind of thing often, but it's been on my heart, and I need you to hear it deep down, past all the noise. I need it to live in you, so you never have to wonder. You're mine, Kristen, not by blood, maybe, but in every other way that counts. You are my daughter, and I don't love halfway. I don't show up halfway. I don't protect halfway. When I say you're mine, I mean it with every part of me. And I see you, all of you. The joy, the fire, the hurt you carry quiet, the strength you don't even realize you built over the years. I see the way you keep going, even when things get heavy. And I want you to know something right here, right now, that you don't ever have to carry that alone because I'm always here. One call, one whisper, one look, and I'm on my way. No hesitation. And that's a promise. Because I love you, prisoner, exactly as you are. Not for who you might be one day, not for how easy or hard things are between us. I love you unconditionally, and I always will. You ever hear me tell me some things 3 times, like I love you 3 times, and I ask her to clean her room? She says yes. I'll make her repeat it 3 times. Well, that's it's like a ritual that it's always been me and Mia's thing when she was little. And we say it 3 times. Oh, my spot. That's our thing. It's a ritual. One for the mind, one for the body, one for the soul. So she never forgets. She's loved in every way a person can be. I do it so it sinks in. So even when I'm not around, she still hears it and feels it. So let me tell you now, Crystal, and mean every word of it. I love you. I love you. I love you. Mind, body, soul, forever. I would die to protect you. No question, no fear. I'd lay my life down if it meant keeping you safe. And I don't say that lightly. That's not drama, that's devotion. But more than that, I will live for you too. I'll be here through the highs, the lows, the mess, the milestone. I'll be the one who stays, the one who shows up, the one who listens without judgment and fights for your peace when you're too tired to fight for it yourself. Even on the days you think you don't need anybody, I'll be in the background, loving you anyway. Quiet, steady, unshaken. You're my girl. Always have been, always will be. I love you. I love you. I love you.
The All American Club on the outside. See, man? Whoa, that's 15 grams of protein. And now, by any salon in here, getting on the sidewalk. Keep saw my straight away video and decided to challenge my thoughts. It's like one wife and wait.
I just feel let's change the energy a little bit.
S.C. Johnson.
Janita Stella, the 12th Lucas biosensor, reveals how.
I appreciate you guys stopping in and saying hello. Really see me posting like a maniac, through most of the evening, trying to get all of this stuff up and running. So my book, my goal is to have it published by my birthday, which is I think the first week of December. I mean, before Christmas, which could realize.
And smart.
So hopefully things are going to pan out that way. I just need you guys' support. And a lot of people are showing up, and I appreciate it. Every one of you that are. Every one of you that shouts me out and restacks my stuff. I see you. I do. I know a couple of you in here right now. And I can't tell you what that means to me. I never considered myself a writer. I didn't even write shit on post-it notes most of my life. But I always had a lot of shit to say. And I guess now I put it on paper. It's doing some good. And I'm glad that my trials and tribulations and all the crazy things I went through in my life can help where you guys are now. So that being said, I'm gonna share my Indiegogo campaign link in the chat with you guys, and then I'm gonna read something right behind that. So, 2 seconds. Oh, I fucked that up. Maybe there we go. That's the benefit. Yep. So that's my Indiegogo campaign. You guys stop by and show any support, share it for me, help me out. Only have 29 days left to go to reach the support I need to be able to get this thing published. But the publisher did tell me that whether I reach my goal or not in the 30 days, any pre-orders of my book will be printed and everybody will receive those signed copies as well. All right, so let's get back to reading some poems. It's just after 3 o'clock there. You better turn half up, mom. I don't want to hear that. All right, I'm gonna read The House Was Always a Wreck. The house was always a wreck. It wasn't the kind of mess you could clean up with a mop. This wasn't a pile of laundry or an overflowing sink. This was the kind of rot that settled into the drywall, or even the air felt heavy, where the blinds stayed closed for weeks, the hallway lights buzzed like insects, and nothing ever smelled clear. It was chaos disguised as silence. By the end, she didn't really speak anymore. Not unless she was accusing me of something, poisoning her tea, hiding cameras, being, quote, in on it. She'd pace the house in a trance, whispering to the walls, staring out windows like something was watching her from across the street. And Mia, she learned to tiptoe. She learned to retreat. And I taught her that. I never outright told her, stay in your room, but my eyes did. My body did. My attention told her everything she needed to know. Stay small, stay quiet, don't poke the storm. And she did. God did she. There were entire weekends where she barely left her room. Just a little girl drawing pictures, watching cartoons, playing quietly, trying not to disturb the fragile, haunted energy in the house, trying not to make mommy mad, trying not to make daddy sad. I'd go and sit in the hallway sometimes with my back against her bedroom door and cry without making a sound because I didn't get her out. Not soon enough. Not when I should have. Not when I knew better. I told myself it was temporary, that the meds would kick in, that I just needed to be patient. But patience becomes tolerance. Tolerance became silence. And silence became a prison for all of us. She once asked me, why doesn't mommy come to the park with us anymore? I told her mommy wasn't feeling good. I always said that. Even when mommy was screaming at shadows, even when mommy wouldn't get out of bed for 5 days, even when mommy accused me of poisoning her toothpaste or flushing her medicine down the toilet. She's sick, I said, but not in the way a child can understand. And I told myself that I was shielding Mia, but really, I was just normalizing. I made survival seem like love, like something you earn by suffering quietly. And I hate that. I hate that my daughter learned what it means to shrink herself before she even knew who she was. I hate that she heard the fights, the muttering, the crying through the vents. I hate that she had to look at me for safety and I looked at the front door for an exit. Every night she would fall asleep in the truck and I just let her stay there, car running, AC on, headlights off, parked behind a gas station on the edge of some dark parking lot. And I'd watch her in the rear view, her little chest rising and falling. And I think, at least she's peaceful now. And I scroll YouTube for hours, survival shelters, guys building cabins out of mud, prison documentaries, shipwreck explorations. I'd lose track of time, chasing numbness like it was oxygen. I was trying to feel anything except what I felt. And still, I stayed. And people romanticize that shit. Oh, you stayed. You must have really loved her. No, I stayed because I was ashamed to leave. Because I didn't want to be the bad guy. Because I thought maybe I deserved it. Because I was scared no one would believe me. Because I thought I was strong enough to carry the weight of 3 lives, mine, hers, and our chops. But strength without boundaries is just slow suicide. I became the man who could hold it together, the one who fixed things, the guy who didn't complain, and nobody ever asked if I was okay. Not once. They just saw a woman who was sick and a man who eventually walked away. But they didn't see the little girl who slept in her shoes some nights because she didn't know if we'd leave in the middle of the night again. They didn't see the holes punched in the bathroom door or the way Janelle would flip between loving and lashing out in seconds. The way my daughter's drawings changed from flowers to storms. I can't go back.
Don't worry. They've got a God power set.
I can't fix what she saw, what she heard, what I allowed.
Apps, locks, and remnants.
But I can tell the truth now, loudly, without shame, without sugar, because this story isn't rare. There are thousands of men and children living this exact life in silence and the record in houses full of goats. The house was always a wreck, but it was never just a house. It was the fear I swallowed every day, the guilt that curled around my spine every night, the helplessness of a man who didn't know how to save the two people he loved most and slowly realized he had to choose. And I chose to live. But I'll never stop grieving the years I just spent surviving. Man. So I'm gonna read two. I'm gonna read them in a certain order. The night she stabbed me. Just making my way English. Only some of this bunch kind of brain. Probably gonna give them more credit. Sweet servers. Well, I need to try to get at least a little bit of sleep. Tagging us up.
She was
The night she stabbed me started about a week before the knife. Janelle had been on the Adderall binge 2, maybe 3 days without sleep. I've seen this before. That wild look in her eyes, like someone else had taken over. She started getting paranoid, convinced I had a second phone hidden in my truck. A secret she said I was hiding from her. She swore it was there, and nothing I said could convince her otherwise. I watched her tear through my truck like a woman possessed, pulling everything out the glove box, ripping under the seats, popping the dashboard apart with her bare hands. I begged her to stop, pleaded with her, but she wasn't listening. My truck, my only lifeline at the time, my baby, my brand new Ram 1500. I didn't have for 6 months and had a giant note on it. Was being destroyed, looking for something that was never there. That life for the week before the stabbing. No sleep, no peace, just a downward spiral that swallowed the woman I loved whole. Then one afternoon, I don't even remember when it started. Just another round of the same shit, same argument. She snapped. I was wearing a silver chain, and it was the Figaro. I'm not pronouncing that right, but that was the style chain. It was a certain pattern. And she reached and snatched that chain from me, snapped it off my neck, whipped it at me, and it caught me right across the face. I remember that so vividly because the imprint of that design of that Figaro chain was imprinted on the side of my face. Skin was raw and burning. I knew then I was standing on the edge. So instead of reacting, I took off running, ran through the kitchen, into the laundry room, slammed the door, and pressed my back hard against it. I begged her to stop, pleading for some shred of the woman I knew to come back. But the pounding started immediately. Her fist slammed the door again and again, each hit a thunderous blow that rattled my bones. She was screaming wild and broken. I can hear the ragged breath of someone drowning in their own madness. And then came the knife. It wasn't slow, it wasn't careful. It was stabbed through the door like a viper strike. Like it was the movie The Shining. She just starts stabbing at the door over and over and over again. Blaze coming through the door, and I'm just trying to hold the door, but keep my body far enough away from it to where I ain't getting stabbed in the process. Each jab came inches from my rib. That cold steel was so close I could almost feel it slice through the wood into my flesh. My breath caught. My heart slammed so hard I thought it might burst. Froze. I was trapped between terror and disbelief, thinking this was how it would all end. Again. Then the blade got stuck. And for a moment, a breath, a silence. I can hear her struggling with the thing and trying to get it out. And I seized the moment, flung the door open with everything I had left. She backs up to the counter in the kitchen, standing there, eyes wide, shaking. Reaches, grabs another knife on the counter. Now, first knife she had one of the big ass chef knives, the big butcher knife, coming through the door. Now this time she's got them 6-inch steak knives that go in the butcher block on the counter. She grabs that, holding, and we just standing there staring at each other, just breathing heavy. I'm staring at the knife and staring at her, and she's just looking at me. Then she swung at me. As soon as she swung at me, I turned to try to cut around her because I needed to get around her to go around the wall. And I turned to run around her, and I was in my socks near the wood floors. Right when I hit the turn, my foot slipped a little bit, and it caused me to miss like half a step. And in that moment, in that half step that I missed, that's when I felt it. Sharp, burning, searing, a blade buried deep into my lower back. Sank it all the way to the handle. I didn't stop. I couldn't. I just ran. I think in the moment, it didn't even really register what had happened. I was thinking maybe she just scratched me with it or something because the adrenaline was pumping so hard. I made it to the bedroom, slammed the door, and went into our bathroom. In the bathroom was the closets. So we ran into the bedroom, into the bathroom, and then into the closet. And I'm shutting each door behind me each way, but the closet door don't lock. So now I'm in the closet, and I'm standing there holding the knob, and I could hear her coming through each door. And I'm just holding, and she gets to the closet door, and she's got the knob and playing tug of war with the doorknob. And that's when I started to notice, like, all my right side started to feel wet and warm, and I didn't think about it in that moment. And I reached down and I just touched like my pocket, and I picked my hand up and looked, covered in blood. And that's when I looked down and realized how badly I was bleeding. My entire right leg was covered, and that's when I realized what had happened, that she had stabbed me. So I yelled through the door, "Janelle, you fucking stabbed me, man. I'm bleeding out here." At this point, I'm in complete panic mode, feeling I never had before or since. It was a fear, a level of fear I can't even begin to explain. But when she heard that, her voice changed. That light switch flipped from rage to panic. Started immediately, she let go of the thing. Started immediately running around and screaming and freaking out. "Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And I opened the closet door. And when I opened the closet door, I just collapsed onto the floor, into the bathroom on the tile. I was begging her to call an ambulance, to call anybody, but she refused. She was in the bedroom trying to pack her bag, and uh, trying to call some guy who gave her his phone number at the gas station like 2 weeks before to get a ride out of there. Which he never came. Like, whatever, if it was even real, I don't even fucking know at this point. But she left me there, and I laid there, rolling in my own blood, alone and terrified, for probably about 2 hours. The bleeding slowed. I cleaned myself as best I could. The pain was slow, a dull burn spreading deep into my bones. Couldn't walk for 2 weeks. Never went to the hospital. Never called the police. I never told a soul till now. Because I knew she wasn't herself. I was still trying to protect her. Right. Now, this one, it was same story titled She Let Me Bleed Like That, but it's from a different angle. She let me bleed like that. The stab wasn't the worst part. It was the way she stared at me while it happened. Like she already detached. Like I was just another broken thing in the house. Not her husband, not a man, not a father bleeding out next to the toilet. No panic, no remorse, just silence. The kind of silence that makes you question if you ever mattered in the first place. I pressed my hand to the wound, felt the warmth spreading through my shirt, but I couldn't feel her though. She didn't move, didn't flinch, just watched me collapse. And you think your body will scream when that kind of pain hits. Mine didn't. I was so used to swallowing pain by then, I barely made a sound. I didn't even curse her name. I just sat in the blood and I stayed. You stay when you're trained to believe love is violent. You stay when you think being hurt is the price of being held. You stay when you're so used to being invisible, even when your pain shows up late. And I stayed, stitched myself with duct tape, didn't tell a soul. The story I told him was I slipped. The story I told myself was she's just sick. She didn't mean it. I could fix this. But here's what I never said out loud. She watched me bleed and she didn't try to stop it. She was watching me bleed out, was watching me dying. And if I wouldn't have stopped bleeding, she would have watched me die right there on the floor. There are people who will hurt you, and there are people who will let you hurt. One is a monster, the other is a mirror. I don't know which one she was, but I know what I became. A man who believed pain was part of the job. A man who learned how to hold his own blood in and his own truth back. A man who started measuring love by how many wounds he could hide. I'm not writing this to shame her. I'm writing this to wake someone up because someone else out there is bleeding tonight and they think it's love. They think this is what relationships are supposed to be. They think that staying is strength. And let me tell you, it's not. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is leave the room before the next cup comes. Sometimes surviving isn't crawling away, it's standing up while they're still watching. I don't live in that house anymore, but part of me never left that floor. That night, something bled out of me besides blood, something that I'll never get back. And maybe that's okay, because what came after was real, raw, ugly, unhealed, but mine. And if you're still listening, you probably know what that floor feels like. Maybe it wasn't a knife. Maybe it was words. Maybe it was silence, withholding, shame. But whatever it was, you didn't deserve it. And you do not have to go through it alone. This is the rewritten path. I don't sugarcoat survival here. We don't flinch when it gets dark. We bleed, we write, we rise. And if any of these words I've spoken has hit you in any way, if you felt it in your chest, if it resonated with you, then I ask you to please subscribe, take a look at my profile, head over to my Indiegogo campaign, help me get my book published. Got the link in the comments. But I'm gonna end this one right here, guys. And I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with another live by myself. And then the day after, I have a new podcast coming out with someone. And the day after that, me and Tracy from last night will be doing another podcast too. So pretty much every night, stay tuned. I'll be on with somebody, even if it's me and my daughter. So, but thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little while, listening in. I really appreciate it. I love and appreciate each one of y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.